So I'm Sky John from Tipsy Bartender. Okay, I love booze, but I also love tech. Okay, I don't know how many of you know that. So today I have with me Mark Jeffries. So he's the CEO of Guardian Circle, and they got a new cool app. And also, he's a crypto expert. Like all my crypto advice kind of comes from him, because I remember. Okay, I gotta mention this. In the early days when crypto was on fire, he told me to invest in this company called Stellar Lumens, right? It was like 0.00000 something cents. And I'm like, I don't know. If I just put a small amount in that, I could have been on a yacht right now, okay? So I kind of messed up, which is why I'm still poor. So guys, today, this is an adios mother effer, okay? So vodka, rum, gin, tequila, sweet and sour. Come over the top with my blue curacao. Good to go. So let's talk about what you created, because your app is really, really exciting and really forward and future thinking in the way that this works. So go ahead and explain what you did.
Yeah, so our app is called Guardian Circle. It is a community emergency response network. So the idea is that friends, family, and neighbors can protect one another in a crisis situation. So the way it works is you download the app, get your friends, family, and neighbors to also download it, and connect with you as guardians in the system. And then sometime later you're in trouble. Could be a health issue. It could be, could be you're under physical duress or something. You press an alert button. This sends an alert out to your friends, family, and neighbors, so their phones are going. Bah, bah, bah. When they answer your alert, they're brought into an alert room, which is basically a map at the top that shows everyone's current location, including yours, and a chat room at the bottom. So the punchline is, in under 30 seconds, everybody knows where everybody else is, and everybody can talk to everybody. This is the important part, whether they knew each other beforehand or not. They all know you, but they probably don't know each other. So like your mom and your neighbor, they probably have never met, right? But during your emergency, getting that information to flow between those two people can save your life, quite frankly.
So basically, let's look at a girl. So girl's walking down the street at night.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a dude starts following her. Like, he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
But she could put out an alert.
Yeah, she could.
To her family and friends. And that it would identify where she is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And whoever's nearest to her in her little circle of friends or whatever. So you could get to that location immediately, even faster than the police sometimes, depending on how close it is. Because if I'm the neighbor right next door, I know there's a problem.
Odds are that your friends, family, and neighbors are closest and can help you fastest. So that's what we're leveraging here.
Dude, I really like that, because because he showed it to me, right? And I'm like, wait a minute now. So if I'm, in the middle of nowhere and you hit this button, like, it just signals all these people around you could come to you.
Yeah, so it's also very effective in areas where that are hard to reach. Like in LA, we have Topanga Canyon, Malibu, places like that are disaster prone, but it's really hard for the official services to get there. But it's especially sort of magic in places around the world like Panama or India or kind of anywhere in Latin America where official services are not that great. And people are sort of spread out.
Oh, yeah. Because a lot of places, because Americans, you get comfortable where you dial 911, ambulance shows up in a few seconds or a few minutes, okay? Though in most of the world, there is no ambulance coming. Like, you got to figure that out. And so and one of the things is smartphones have gotten a lot cheaper, so you were able to notify everyone around you to come get you. That's a serious rescue situation. So so you're using like a GPS to tell us where everybody is,
yes.
kind of?
Yeah. So your location is only shared during an alert.
Right.
So it's only when you set off an alert or you enter someone else's alert room. It's not like your friends, family, neighbors can't track your movements at all times, right? We're very
only when you're in
about
trouble.
That. Only when you're in an alert room, and then yes, your location is shared. But after, once you leave the alert room, everything's private once again.
Dude, that's super cool. So this will be it's on iOS and on Android?
It's on iOS and Android, yes.
And it's called Guardian.
The app is called Guardian Circle. We have a coin, which I haven't talked about yet, called Guard.
Okay.
And that is a crypto that is built on top of Neo. Inside Guardian Circle, the app, there is a wallet. And the wallet makes it super easy for crypto newbies. You send crypto to someone using just their face and name. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know like their crypto address. So we've made it like a very consumer simple wallet. And the way it's used is after your alert is over, everyone who answered your alert is now lined up on a tip screen, and you can decide how much or how little, and it could be none at all.
Oh yeah, because you don't have to.
You don't have to use this if you don't want to. When you download Guardian Circle, you get some guard for free for downloading the app. So we give you some guard right out of the gate. You can choose to reward that to your responders in any amount that you want or not. So it's totally, we think this will be very interesting in regions of the world where people are unbanked.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So 6 billion people have no emergency services. 4 billion are unbanked. So we think there's a very big sweet spot right there. So it's sort of experimental. We'll see what people do with it.
So crypto had its peak, I would say, like in 2017, going into 2018. You agree with that?
Well, yes, that's by far the biggest peak that crypto has had. But crypto has had multiple peaks over kind of the 2011 through present, 2017 period.
But that was the biggest one.
That was the biggest one. Bitcoin went up to like $20,000. And we had not seen a peak like that before. So that was exceptional. You're right. But these things have patterns, right? They kind of come up, they go down, then they go up further, then they come down, then they go up further. So, if it follows the pattern somewhere around 2020 or 2021, we'll see Bitcoin in the 100,000, 150,000 range.
You really believe that?
I really believe that, yes.
Okay, but hold on. But when it crashed, so Bitcoin kind of crashed in like 2018.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, it's coming back. A few months, 6 months. It's going to be a year. Man, we would be deep in 2019 now. This coming to an end. We're going into 2020. I mean, you really think we can still hit that level?
I do. And I believe it because the fundamentals of Bitcoin are so sound. Compared to fiat currency, which is what people call the dollar.
Well, yeah, the cash he's talking about.
Right, and remember back,
fiat.
So remember back when we were talking about Stellar way back when, right? And you thought it was insane,
right?
and a lot of people did, and lo and behold, it went through the roof at a certain point, alongside Bitcoin. We're in that same trough of doubt right now, right? And it will come back because of the soundness of cryptocurrency versus fiat currency, which anyone can print in any amount, and they do all the time. Right now, the government is printing cash like crazy.
Yeah.
They're calling it QE4 or QE5, right? Qualitative easing, where they just basically print more dollars because they need more dollars, right?
Okay, most you tech guys, you guys don't. You really think this economy is as hot and as sound as people think it is, considering how much money the government's printing?
You're talking. Sorry, which economy are you talking about?
The regular U.S. economy.
I don't. I think that it's a giant bubble, and a lot of people don't realize that there's a massive debt bubble in the entire world. Right, the United States debt is, I think, 23 trillion at this point.
I know. In the last year alone, under Trump, it increased by like I think 1.3 trillion.
Yeah, it's actually gone up a lot.
Yeah,
under Trump,
yeah.
So, which is sort of a little bit surprising, but nonetheless. Worldwide, though, the debt situation is worldwide debt equals 3x worldwide GDP. That means all of us owe each other 3 times as much as all of us can make in a year.
Yeah.
It can never be repaid.
Right.
So there will be a reckoning at some point.
So if the economy was to crash, you think that crypto is going to be a safe spot for a lot of people looking at this?
I do.
And by crypto, I'm not only talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum, Stellar, the coin I just mentioned.
But to be clear, I think Bitcoin has the strongest hedge capabilities. Bitcoin is the most like gold. In bad times, people have historically run to gold as the safe storage of value, right? Because gold always has value beyond, it doesn't matter what's going on with the governments or, whether the dollar crashes, gold will always have value. Bitcoin has those same characteristics. It's scarce, it's impossible to forge, but it has the advantages of being digital, so it can be sent anywhere in the world immediately. Gold, it's hard to move, right? It's heavy, you got to put it in a truck, you got to guard it, Bitcoin, you don't have to do those things, right?
So, well, you got to have a good memory to remember your keys, okay? Because, this is still pretty tech heavy in some instances, because the point of Bitcoin is you should own your keys, and your keys is your access to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it could be a string of like 12 words that aren't even remotely related that you got to remember.
It's like the Winter Soldier. You're like snowflake tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
It's kind of interesting. Okay, but going back to Bitcoin now. So we in this era where technology is moving at an astronomical pace, right?
Yeah.
How long before you're able to hack Bitcoin? Because everyone now getting into these quantum computers, and it's believed that a quantum computer can hack the Bitcoin chain.
Yeah.
So one day we will wake up and Bitcoin will not be as secure as it is. Or am I nuts in saying that?
So the jury's actually out on that. So it is true that quantum computing is a threat to Bitcoin because a quantum computer can crack all kinds of cryptography codes a lot faster and a lot more efficiently than traditional computers, like wickedly faster. But it is at this point theoretical. We do have quantum computing working on a small scale, but it is nowhere near the scale required to crack the encryption of Bitcoin. That's like orders of magnitude larger in terms of the number of quantum bits that you have to have in the quantum computer. It is unknown. It is so it's not really a how long. Well, there is a how long, but the more fundamental question is we don't know if we can get a quantum computer to work with the number of bits required. We may be at the theoretical upper limit of quantum computing right now. We have not proven that we can go beyond that. There are a lot of people who are saying that quantum computer will never go past where it is right now. So that's a question. We haven't proven that yet.
Why would they say that, considering how fast everything in tech is moving?
Because quantum computing does not obey the same laws of physics as traditional von Neumann machine computers, right? So we're in uncharted territory. Nobody knows what's here yet. So that's why I say this. But the second thing to realize about quantum computing is it takes with one hand, but it gives with another. So yes, it's true that quantum can break traditional encryption, but it provides quantum encryption.
Yeah.
So if all we have to do is fork to a quantum blockchain.
Okay. Pause on
and
that.
Now we're back in business.
Wait a minute now. These tech dudes, they smart as hell, but they cannot agree on jack shit. So when he say fork the Bitcoin chain, that's not gonna happen. I mean, it could be this dude's like, no. So
it will be tough to get consensus.
Right. So there won't be consensus because these smart as hell guys, and let me tell you, the intelligence level in the crypto space is through the roof. These are the smartest guys on the planet, but they can't agree on shit. So I know when this dude say, hey, we could have quantum encryption here, and this other dude, no, we don't want to do it that way. By the time as you all agree, I mean, all the coins will be gone.
Well, I'm a little bit more hopeful than that. There have been some examples where there has been consensus reached on large topics like this in the crypto community. The biggest one being the fork of Ethereum that happened several years ago. Really quick, there was a hack in Ethereum where $70 million was stolen. There was a chance for the entire community had to decide what to do about it, and it basically boiled down to, do we fork the coin into a version of the universe where that theft never occurred, or do we let it lie and just accept it? And 85% or more of the Ethereum community voted to create a new chain where the theft never occurred. And so that was a successful, I think very successful consensus building exercise in the tech community.
Explain to them what a fork is.
Yeah, so
we mentioned it a couple of times.
So a fork is where you have one version of a coin's history. So,
like Bitcoin, for instance.
Yeah, like all the transactions, who sent how much to whom, right? And a fork is where it splits into two, where the events start moving in a different direction. It's like timelines, right? So here's the timeline where Biff becomes president. Here's the timeline where Biff doesn't become president. So a fork is where there's a split, and there are now equal number of coins in both universes. It's usually good for consumers because they get double the coins, right?
Right.
So Ethereum, the event that I just mentioned, Ethereum forked into two versions, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So if you had some Ethereum before the fork, you now had the same amount of Ethereum Classic in this version of the universe. So you doubled your coins, right? So kind of cool.
But Ethereum became the dominant one that most of you.
It did, but Ethereum Classic is still a top 100 coin. So it's not nothing. It's certainly not what Ethereum is. It's maybe a tenth of what Ethereum is, but not bad.
Okay, so John McAfee, I remember. What was his prediction? Bitcoin would be at 1 million in 2020?
He's got to the end of 2020.
Okay, so by the end of 2020, if Bitcoin is not at $1 million per coin, John McAfee, the creator of the McAfee antivirus software, has claimed that he will eat his own genitals. Okay? And based on some of his history and some of the things he's been affiliated with, I don't think that's kind of out of the realm of possibility. Okay? Because his sex life's very interesting based on what's online. Right?
McAfee is absolutely on record as saying that he would eat his own dick. Yes.
Yeah. So guys, when you when you go into any crypto app, it kind of looks something like this in a list of coins, and you see a lot of red, okay, because everything's down. So Bitcoin, you think the future looks bright for that?
I do.
Okay, number 2 here is Ethereum.
Ethereum, I'm less bullish on personally, mostly for the reason that you just discussed. They have Ethereum is not scalable. It's very easy to crash it with a small number of transactions. They have multiple plans to make it scalable and less crashy under a heavy load. However, all the developers cannot agree on
how to do that. Okay.
So I don't believe, and there's no strong hand at the top kind of driving that world.
Wouldn't that be Vitalik?
It should be Vitalik, but Vitalik has refused to take that role. He says, "I'm one voice amongst many," and therefore has refused to become, kind of the dictator. Which, honestly, it needs a king.
Okay.
It just does, right?
Okay.
Or at least a very influential personality. Vitalik has refused that role, so chaos has ensued. So I personally don't believe Ethereum has a long-term future.
So guys, Bitcoin is the big boss, and everything else is considered an altcoin. So when you hear that, that's what we're referring to. So number 3, you have XRP.
Yep, XRP is Ripple.
Yeah, Ripple. Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ripple? Because people don't even consider Ripple a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, there is considerable debate about that. The biggest interest. So Ripple was created as an alternate method for banks primarily to move currency from one bank to another bank. Not really between you and me or a bank and you and me, but bank to bank. And they do have a number of pilots going around the world with a number of banks. It's meant to replace the SWIFT system, right?
Yeah.
The SWIFT system is the private computer system that banks use to send money to each other.
Why would the SWIFT system be bad for banks?
The SWIFT system is not bad for banks.
It
is bad. It is bad in the sense that it's basically 70s technology.
Okay.
And it breaks all the time, and their wire transfers between banks do still get lost quite often.
Okay.
It's kind of kludgy, right? And it takes several days for you know how like the bank is we're gonna put a hold in your account, and we have to wait for the money to show up, right? And you're kind of like, why? What do you have to wait for? I can send an email faster than you can send money. It's stupid. It's just numbers.
That's
you
true.
can't send numbers across. Like it's very old. So Ripple, by using a pseudo cryptocurrency, has said you should replace SWIFT with us, and you should send money to each other with Ripple. Now, here's the interesting thing. The Ripple coin that you see on the open market is not what they use in the bank-to-bank transfers. It actually has no relationship to it. So it is purely a speculative currency with no like if a ton of banks start using Ripple, they won't be using that coin. They'll be using another version of that that only the banks can access. So, long term, I like a lot of what Ripple has done, but I don't believe that their coin has a real tie to their business.
Okay.
So I think long term, I'm a no on it.
Okay, so let's go through these a little. Okay, next up, Bitcoin Cash.
Don't like Bitcoin Cash. It's meant to be so Bitcoin Cash attempts to solve the problems
that Bitcoin can't address.
So Bitcoin requires 10 minutes to send for any transaction to clear. It's just a limitation of how it was constructed. Which means you can't really use it like cash. Can you imagine trying to pay at a gas station and you're like, okay, well, it's going to take 10 minutes for it to clear. No, it's never going to work, right? So Bitcoin Cash is an attempt to make it a lot faster. I think there are better approaches to doing those sorts of things, and I actually think Bitcoin is the wrong tool. Bitcoin is gold. You don't want it. It should be hard to move. It's a store of value. It's meant to stay in one place.
So you see it as gold, not as me going in a store and buying my nuggets.
Bitcoin is a gold-like store of value. That's its purpose in life.
Okay.
You would not use gold as cash, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of the same thing. There are other cryptos that are much better cash alternatives.
Okay. So next up we have Litecoin.
Yep.
Quickly, what you think?
No, I mean their founder actually famously sold at the time.
Yeah, Charlie Shroud.
Or not
Charlie Lee.
Charlie Lee.
Okay. Yeah, boy, that was a good. When he was selling, I was like, "This dude's nuts." Then the dude turned out to be a genius because he sold right before we crashed.
Yeah.
Good looking out, Charlie Lee. Why don't you call me up and say, "Hey"? Well, you don't know my number. I don't know him, but still, I mean, it would have been nice, man. So I wouldn't be as broke as I am now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next up you have EOS.
Yeah. So EOS, I have a love-hate relationship with personally. I know a lot of the people that were behind building that coin. When they first proposed it, basically there was a problem with Ethereum. We all looked at it and said, this is a great second step, but it's sort of like MySpace.
Yeah.
It's not quite the final form of the thing yet.
Yeah.
Right? And we all knew that. And EOS proposed a white paper, which basically was the transactions happen in under a second. And there can be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them simultaneously on the chain without crashing it, right, at scale. And all us technical people looked at the white paper and went, wow, this is brilliant. We believe this can work. And they initially did indeed deliver on the promise. However, since that moment, they've basically gone downhill. There's been an event over the last month where EOS is meant to be a platform coin, and what that means is other people can build applications
on,
and their own coin on top of that coin.
Right.
So it's kind of like an operating system, like Windows or something like that. And a lot of people built applications on EOS. However, over the last month, one application called IDOS, I won't get into how they did this, but they basically consumed all of the resources available in the EOS universe, leaving none for any of the other apps. That should have never been possible. That is an architectural flaw.
What happened to all the EOS coin holders? Were they pissed?
Well, the EOS coin holders actually can't move their coins because of the same flaw, because it requires kind of this gas in their universe, which one entity purchased all of the available. It's actually RAM for the month of November.
So you couldn't sell your coins right now?
No.
What?
No.
Your coins locked in?
CoinDesk actually announced that they can't move EOS, and they've stopped accepting EOS because they can't move it. So imagine if like Lex Luthor bought all the electricity in Los Angeles to power his personal particle collider, leaving none for everybody else.
Yeah.
That's what's happened in the EOS universe. And Block One, the company behind EOS, has basically gone on record saying, well, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to work. It's capitalism, so sorry. So all of the people, all the coin holders, all the miners, all of the app providers are looking to move to a fork of EOS. And I think EOS has made a giant blunder, and they might never recover from it.
But it ain't a blunder if you built it that way, because code is law.
Well, the code. It'll be a blunder if it starts losing value, which I think it will. My favorite blockchain is Neo, and that is very much like EOS, and that it's a platform coin that you can build things on top of and coins on top of. And the reason I like it is because
it's listed as the number 18 coin today. Okay.
Yeah, it's number 18. It is a highly scalable coin platform like EOS, but without the problems of EOS.
Okay.
Right? And also they claim to be the most developer-friendly blockchain, and we have developed upon it, and without a doubt, that is absolutely true. That's been our experience. Our life was probably 10 times easier on Neo than it would have been on any other coin platform.
Okay. Now, my favorite coin would be ADA, okay? Charles Hoskins.
Really? You like Hoskins stuff?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, he's a really smart dude.
he is a smart dude.
Okay, and he's
ahead.
been behind the creation of some of
He was one of the guys behind Ethereum as well.
Right, one behind Ethereum. I think didn't he work with Block One? Him and Don Larmore did some stuff.
That I don't know.
He worked with Don Larmore on some
aware
stuff.
of that,
He worked with Don. They were friends at one point. I mean, he got beef with a lot of dudes. but I like what he's trying to do. Okay, so what do you think about ADA?
So ADA, well, it's Cardano.
Yeah, Cardano. Sorry, Cardano.
Right.
The actual coin is ADA. Yeah.
Yeah, the symbol is ADA.
Yeah.
And so what I think about it is he's tried to build a third generation platform coin like EOS or like Neo, called Cardano.
Completely decentralized.
But it's still not released yet. He is spending all his time buffing and polishing like the perfect thing and not releasing it. And my view of this, I've seen this once before. Back in the early days of the internet, there was a guy who had a project called Xanadu, and the guy's name was Ted Nelson. Xanadu was the World Wide Web before the World Wide Web, but it was like overly thought out, and a bunch of PhDs were proving that everything worked perfectly before releasing it. And meanwhile, along came Tim Berners-Lee, released the World Wide Web. It was kind of crappy, but you know what? It was released, and you could use it. And I believe that Charles Hoskin and Cardano are buffing and polishing things way too much, like Ted Nelson did with Xanadu, and the rest of the world has already moved on.
But this is people's actual money. So if shit goes wrong, like you lose your dough, so wouldn't you want everything to be perfect?
No, I absolutely not, because I don't want to. I want things that people are using and iteratively gets better, and that includes mistakes. You have to allow for some mistakes. So you use these things at your own risk. But the only way to really prove that it works is to just get beat up by the real world. Like, that's really it. Like, running around making, scribbling on whiteboards with equations, that's nice, but it doesn't, you're going to miss some very big, the humans will always do something you don't predict. What happens if I push this button like 50 times in a row, right? Like, whoa, the PhDs, we never thought of that. Like, nobody's going to do that. They shouldn't use it that way. That's how they think.
Charles, for the record, I still believe in Cardano. Now, I can be honest with you. I converted my Cardano to Bitcoin because, in this crypto winter, Bitcoin is a little bit more stable. I can lose less. So it ain't that I dislike you. I was just, just buying out. Just trying to get out of the way before it's still getting crushed, just not as bad. But, when things pick up, I will be switching back. What else you got to tell us about the crypto space before we go?
So there's a movie called Trust Machine, which Guardian Circle is featured pretty heavily in. It is
this is a documentary all about a
crypto documentary
all about
crypto. So the director is a guy named Alex Winter. And if you've ever seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, he's Bill.
Okay.
And it's narrated by Rosario Dawson, who's in a bunch of Marvel things. And the film does a really great job of explaining Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and then it takes you sort of on a tour of 6 or 7 companies, Guardian Circle being one of them, that are using crypto around the world for various things.
So okay, I'm sure a lot of people watching this, because it's a drinking channel, and this is like just my tech thing, okay? This is what I'm interested in. What do you say to someone watching this right now? Man, I don't give a shit about crypto. Should they give a shit about crypto?
Yes. In the same way, at one point you thought you shouldn't give a shit about the internet, right? You might have been running a bookstore and you went, well, the internet really has nothing to do with me. I don't care. And lo and behold, Amazon was gearing up to eat your lunch. And before long, your bookstore was out of business because you decided it wasn't that important. The same thing that happened to media, entertainment, all the things that the internet kind of ate is now happening to money, law, and certain parts of governance. And that is the order of magnitude of the economy that part of the universe touches is orders of magnitude larger than what the internet touched. So crypto is actually bigger than the internet. So if you're not paying attention to it, you should start.
Yeah. I really would like to cash in my Bitcoin, just eat my losses, but I know. I wouldn't. Already been to the ground, okay? Really been down to like $3,000, So
if you've been in Bitcoin long enough, you've been to the ground 5 or 6 times.
Actually, I have. I bought my first coin in 2017, and dude, that was sketchy as hell because I bought it from someone in England. I had to go to the bank, take a photo of a deposit slip saying, what was it, like no refund required or something like that?
Yeah.
And then I had to wait like a few hours for some dude in England to send me the coin, Yeah. Those are good times though, because everything was up. It was like every day was a green day, man, Everything was just on fire. And then January 2018, everything went to rat shit.
Yeah, but we've seen this pattern once before, and I think you remember the .com boom.
Yeah.
Right? So the .com boom, it was about $7 trillion worth of investment from venture capitalists. Everything went up, Pets.com, including Amazon as well, and then it crashed, right? And everyone, most people lost faith, said, the consumer internet is BS. Mm-hmm. And then somewhere around 2004, 5, 6, things started going back up again. And Amazon, Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, that's when the great companies were largely founded or found their footing. And then the second wave was much larger, like 10x what the first wave was. So if you just hung on, you were rewarded giantly, massively for that faith. So we're in that trowel right now in the crypto world.
But here's my crypto question to you. If I look at this list right now, there are hundreds, thousands of coins. Yeah. All these sons of bitches can't survive because most of this is just a money grab by these dudes.
Yes, they won't all survive.
Right, So my question is, how many coins do you think would walk out of this? It can't just be Bitcoin.
No, it won't be just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin seems to be the one sure bet.
Okay.
And again, this is not financial advice; it's my opinion. But to me, Bitcoin is a sure bet, and there seems to be a lot of consensus on that. I think some of the platform coins will do well. It's possible Ethereum will do well, despite my doubts, because it has so much momentum behind it. The momentum just might never fade. EOS is having a very severe issue right now. My personal belief is it won't survive, but forks of EOS will survive. There's one called Lynx. That's EOS with the garbage pulled out of it.
Okay.
So I think that the Lynx chain will do very well. And obviously, I'm a big fan of Neo. I think Neo will do very well.
Okay. And probably Cardano too. You think will do well?
Well, we'll see.
Charles, you need to talk to him,
Yeah,
okay?
no, Charles-
He's hating on your coin. I know. I see y'all fight
Charles
on
and I
Twitter.
had a little fight on
I
Twitter.
saw y'all have a Twitter fight. You know, guys, listen. So this is Mark Jeffries. Please go to the App Store and download Guardian Circle because that is super cool to be in a crisis situation and hit a button because it's almost like that life alert call that goes out.
Yeah, it's a decentralized life alert. Yeah.
But even better because you're notifying everyone who's in that nice circle. You know, that's super cool. You know, because I'd keep my phone in my hand in the dark alley. Okay. False alert! That was just my shadow. Okay, I didn't know. Anyway. So guys, go check it out. Guardian Circle, App Store, Android Store. All right. Stay tipsy, friends. Stay tipsy.